Many of the things that you will see in this topic will be very similar to Python, so I might go a little bit fast. I will just focus on what are the differences with Python and Java. So for your first Java program, all right. So this is a Java program looks like, what it looks like. So we have a class, as you can see, a main method, some printing message. Let's also show it actually. Do it. So I'll again open this terminal part, and I want to do this. So this is a code, as you can see, from Java. It has a name, welcome.java, but I will delete its content now. Not this, not this, not this. And this is a tradition, that's why I'm doing it actually. We have to say welcome to world and so on. So just to do the tradition. Okay, then yeah, we can we need to compile it. We need to then we can run it. And yes, welcome. Now we can continue with the details of this part, okay? Now of introduction to programming courses, and yeah, this is actually a ChatGPT generated tool, video, so whatever. Now you are welcome to the Java world. From now on, you forgot Python and you are only focused on the Java, okay? So let me continue with the other part. Let's see. First, comments, you also know it about from the Python. It is important for us to make the programs more readable for you so that you can understand the code that you have written 6 months ago, and for the others so that what you did, they can also understand and update your code. So these are the statements that are being ignored as in Java, as in Python, but the thing that is different is the syntax. So instead of using a dash sign or so, you are using 2 slashes, so that it will mean that the whole line will be a command, it will not be executed. If you need multiple lines of command, then what you can do is you can put a slash, then asterisk. Then everything you write up to 1 asterisk and a slash will be a comment. So you can write multiple lines of command by using this. It's exactly the same thing exists in Python, but with different syntaxes. And you blank lines and white spaces. Now this is different than Python. In Python, you have to be, your code have to be very indented, right? You write a for loop, and then to define the code block of that for loop, you have to put exactly the same number of white spaces, like maybe 5. If it is 5, you have to obey that. In Java, blank lines have no meaning. You can, it will be a terrible code, but theoretically, you can write all your code in 1 line. So that would change anything at all. The reason is that to define the code blocks, we use curly brackets. So for Java, you can completely ignore what blank line is. Of course, but the thing is that your code should be eventually readable. That's why we obey the indentation. The code will, whether it is indented or not, it will still run in Java, but it will not be readable if you don't, if you put the blank spaces randomly and so on. And then the next thing is, when we are writing a code in Java, you should definitely define a class first, okay? A class is also an object, which is the topic of our this course, which is object-oriented programming. So every Java program consists of at least 1 class. You cannot write just like, okay, system out println this message. No, it won't run it in that way. Java, the whole computing structure is defined based on these classes. So you have to first define a class. Then using that class, you can write your code and so on. And for just as an example, if you go back to this welcome code, just to say welcome to Java programming, what I did is I created a class file, welcome1 class. Okay, so this is an important part. Some students, especially in the exams, I see that they do this mistake, like they just start writing a code. No, it doesn't work in that way. You have to always define a class. And the class is a reserved word, so you cannot use it as a variable name and so it is only used to define the classes. Of course, there are so many reserved words, keywords that you should be aware of. We'll not go over that, but like abstract, boolean, break, byte, catch, try, and so on and so. So we cannot use these reserved words, as you know. As in Python, Python has its own reserved words, and Java has its own reserved words. So to declare a class, well, now this should match. If your class name is welcome, then the file name should be also welcome.java. So the file name and the class name that you define inside should match. Then we open a curly bracket and close it, and we write all our code in between these curly brackets. That defines our the scope of our class. We will talk about what is a class later on, but just as a beginning. Okay. Now, to print a line like system to say a welcome message. Now I have written this long code, system.out.println. So what is this? Just let's break it down again. System.out is actually an object. This will make more sense to you when we see the static variables and so on and so. Okay, for now you can just know it as it is. And then in Java, every object has its own functions. So an object has some capabilities, which we call them the functions, and this object has this println method. Println method basically prints messages to the console, and it takes, again, Python has also its own print function, but there are some little differences. Okay, so you can put a string in it, or you can put a number in it immediately without changing it to string. The system out println will work, but usually we use the system out println to print messages. This ln means that it will move to the new line once it finishes. But if you don't want it, you can just say system out print. Then it will not move to the next line. And I think we did that, so I'm just moving on. And we also run it, so I'm again still moving on. I already did these parts, so I'm showing it. I'm moving on. Okay, I already talked about it, so I'm also moving it. This is very similar to Python, so I will just go faster. So what we can do is you can use either print or println to print the messages, and println goes to the new line. But what you can also do is you can also put a new line as a character. So this is exactly the same with the Python. So you can put a escape character and then put an N, then it will mean that it is a new line. If you put a T, it will be tab character. So this is exactly the same with the Python. That's why I'm moving a little bit fast. So this is just as an example. Let me use my laser here. Yeah. Didn't work. Don't know why. Oh yeah. So here you can see again we define the class. Here we have a main function. Python has also a main function when you are running it. It is similar to that. So whenever you want to run an application, your program always starts with the main function. It has this very static naming and parameters. It is public, static, void. What are those means? We will see it later on. So, but for now, you can just memorize it in this way. And then it takes up arguments parameter. So it is actually the arguments that you provide outside your program. So you can, it's a string array. Again, we will, for now, you can just memorize it that way. And then now, in order to say welcome to Java programming to put a new line, you can use, again, similar to the Python, we can just use this escape character with an N. And I think this is also same with the Python, where if you need a backslash, since it is a single one of them is a escape character, you have to use double to print a backslash. To print the double code, again, you need a backslash, because otherwise it would mean other thing. But this is, again, similar to Python. Now, this part is different for the variables and the literals. So variables, you have it also in Python. But what is the difference is, in Python, you could just say a is 5. Then Java will say that, okay, it should be integer. And then you can say a is 5, then a is ABC. Now it's a string. And then Java will do that, Python will do that conversion. In Java, this is not possible. You cannot change the type, like you said that, okay, now you are integer, then, no, I changed my mind, you're a string actually. But no, you can't do it. In Java, in the beginning, you should first say that, okay, a is an integer. Then you can define the value. Java will not assume that, okay, I have one exception for in the next slide, but you have to first define the data type. Is it integer, double, float, boolean, string, whatever it is, but you have to first declare it. So we first say that, okay, we declare value variable as an integer. And then we can say value is 5. If I had put here like another value, and non-integer value, if I said that value is ABC, Java would say that, okay, what are you doing? You said that it is integer, but now you're trying to put a string there, so I don't run it. Then you will get an error. You will get a compiler. So you have to be, this is different than Python, okay?
So
Yes?
do you have to put that point and comma at the end of each line in Java?
Oh, yes, perfect. Thank you for, yes, exactly. In if statements, for statements, while we don't put them immediately after that if part, but for all other parts, yes, you need. So, yeah, this is different than Python. Thank you for reminding me that. So, yes, whenever there is a comma, it means then it means that yes, it is a statement. So actually, this is why I said that you can write all your program in one line in Java. You can literally, I could literally take this and put it here and write them in one line. Java will separate the functions based on those semicolons. That's why, yes, you have to put a semicolon in every line. And I think you know the variable name from the Python, so I will be fast about it in that. So I can first declare the value will be integer, and then I can set it to an integer value. If I try to put something else, Java will give me an error. And for the println message, you can either put a literal string, like a literal value of it, a string, or you can put like an integer, a double, or anything. Then Java will not make it a problem. In Python it does, but you have to convert it to string and so on. But Java will automatically handle that, so you can put an integer as so in print messages. And the operators. Now, this might be also confusing for you. The operators in Python and Java have many common points, but there are also some slight changes. Okay? So, firstly, the plus operator, you can use it as an addition in mathematics, or you can use it to concatenate strings. So if you just say hello plus word, it means that, okay, it will concatenate those two strings. Or you can also say the value is plus 5, so it will also concatenate a string and an integer. It will print it in that way. So I can also use it like consecutive concatenation. The value is, then put a new line character, then I put the value of 5. So I can use this plus sign for concatenation. And for the string concatenation, there is one issue that you have to be careful. If you are trying to write multiple lines, okay, so you said that system out println, you open the double quotes and you write too many things, but so it is 3 lines of code, you'll get an error. So in order to do that, what you should do is, for each line you have to put them in quotation, double quotes, and then concatenate them by the plus sign. So if you move to a new line, these codes will not work for it, and you will get an error. That's why you have to be careful about it when you are using multiple lines in system.println to print strings. Do you have any questions so far? Okay, then I'm moving on. And this makes things actually easier a bit. Like if you have this kind of a code, the following will be printed in a tab format. Then we say first is equal to 5 times 6 plus a comma. So when I said that, what Java will do is it will first do the multiplication. 5 times 6 is 30. So it will print 30. Or I can do that in parentheses, like 5 times 6, but in parentheses. Java, again, will first consider it as a mathematical operation. So it will do it, calculate the 30, and then it will print 30. It will not print the parentheses. So this is for that. But, and again, I can also put these, it doesn't have to be always integer. You can put double values, floating values. It will still print. It won't make it a problem. Should I proceed? To define the identifiers, like the class names, the variable names, the function names, there are some restrictions on the naming. Well, first, it cannot be any reserved word, of course. And you can only use letters, digits, underscores, and the $sign. But the first digit cannot be a digit. So you can say like ABC9 is a valid variable name, but 9ABC is not a variable name. The identifiers are case sensitive, so this is like if you write everything in upper cases and the lower cases, they will be different variables. Like uppercase A and lowercase a are, from a Java perspective, completely different variables. And you cannot put spaces in the variable names. It's 49, yes. And yeah, we can stop here. I think we'll continue with this slide. Thank you for your attendance. This is the class for today.